Welcome, friends, to the Universal Body Meditation, the sphere of morality, the second sphere of the 6 spheres of the Dharmakaya. Now, this is going to be quite a bit of a shorter video than the first one. As I said previously, the main essence of the practice is primarily the Dharma sphere, which this practice begins with. And then out of that sphere emerges the second sphere, and all of them sequentially, which is Sila. This will be the second sphere. Now, what's happening at this point is, in the meditation, and just a real quick recap, all we did in the first one is we purified our chakras. We went through the chakra system, the elemental system, to purify the elements. And then we brought the sphere to our center of gravity, behind the navel. And we brought the layers of our mind, feeling, memory, thought, and awareness. And out of that clear light of awareness, the sphere expanded to surround our body, and then we sat in meditation and continued to empty those layers of our mind, feeling, memory, thought, awareness, feeling, memory, thought, awareness, to purify the sphere on a deeper and deeper level, and thus the aura that we're sitting inside of. It's ultimately the same sphere. You get so rooted here that it actually expands to the size of your whole body, and ultimately even bigger and bigger, ultimately, quite frankly, out to the whole universe, because the true center of you is also the true center of the universe. They're all governed by the same dharma, the same pattern of phenomena. So that's kind of the idea intellectually, and then through the practice you can embody that. Whoa, okay, what's the experience of actually being the center of the universe? And some of the really high-tech, what's the gentleman's name? Nassim Haramein. He's a really famous physicist that actually has mathematical formulas to tell you how, wait a minute, you are the center of the universe. You can see, because if you use the term consciousness in modern physics, you're in big trouble. Well, he has formulas to define all that. You can check his work out. But bottom line, this practice will give you the experience of what it's like to actually be that center of the universe, okay? So we start off, as I said, the same way we began the first practice. We don't go through, as I said in the first video, we don't do, unless you're healing from something and you really want to bring the chi to your chakra system, we don't do the same thing, bringing the sphere to all the chakras. You just start with it at your center and empty your feeling, memory, thought, awareness, feeling, memory, thought, awareness, till the sphere expands and you're sitting inside of it. So essentially where we finished the meditation last time, and it's going to be the same format, context and practice. So I'll give you the context and we'll go into commentless practice, where I'll just guide the meditation. We start right there. We're sitting inside of an expanded sphere, as if you meditate on this crystal sphere, and then it surrounds your body. So it's like you're now that crystal, Buddha or Bodhisattva or meditator inside of the sphere, saint, if you will. Okay, that is where this second sphere begins, the sphere of Sila or morality. Okay, now the 5 Silas in Buddhism, just to tell you what they are don't kill, don't steal, no sexual misconduct, don't lie, and no intoxication. Now, those are kind of obvious about what they are. And as I said in the opening video, basically what we're going to do is we're going to use this method to embody on a very, very deep level these different qualities, right? So of course we know don't kill. Don't steal. The one that I think needs just a sentence or two of context or definition, because it's all about meaning, is sexual misconduct. And just off the cuff, they usually say it's adultery, but the higher level Buddhists, again, it's all who do you listen to, people that have what you want, people that have embodied this practice on a level that I want to resonate with, because who you listen to is who you become. The best definition I've ever heard of sexual misconduct is simply wrong sex, which means, excuse me, not wrong sex, harmful sex, which means wrong place, wrong time, wrong partner. That's what that means. So sure, that could include adultery if you're going to do something, and that would somehow, the repercussions of that would cause things that are hurtful to you and others. That would be wrong, wrong place, wrong time, wrong partner. You know what I'm saying? So that type of thing. I think that's a far more encompassing definition that'll be helpful for you as a person and as a practitioner. And let's face it, sexual energy is probably our biggest wound as a culture. So wrong, harmful sex, wrong place, wrong partner, wrong time. Okay, right there. And then you can go and study like what a Buddha specifically, with the 5 Silas, but that's pretty much it right there. Things that are intoxicating, because the Buddha, in many ways, they're all important, but he kind of put a little more emphasis on the intoxication one, because if you're intoxicated, you're going to do the other ones without thinking. No problem. That's why the vast high percent, 98% or whatever it is of all violent crime, you've got alcohol in the profile. You know what I mean? So that's something to keep in mind. That's real easy, especially in our Western culture, to forget. So anyway, I'm not going to lecture you anymore on that, but just to let you know what they are, what we're going to be focusing on. And so what this practice is, again, we're sitting inside the sphere. We're going to go through it real quick again, just kind of warm up, feeling memory, thought, awareness. That clear awareness surrounds ourselves. We're sitting inside that pearl, that sphere of light, and we're purifying our awareness. And then out of that sphere, basically each sphere just keeps appearing. You see it here first, and then you put all your attention on it, because that's the essence of this whole method. You keep emptying yourself to the center, and then it expands. Well, the very next sphere you're going to see is, I call it the elemental sphere. Basically what it is, I have a little visual aid for you here. Now, this is a medicine wheel from the Native American tradition. I'm actually part Native American. So I can talk with authority about medicine wheel. But anyway, you see this shape not just in Native American, the Dharma wheel, which is just 8 of these, the cross and then the double cross, right? You see it, it's all over. We know Native American culture was Asian, basically. They all came from the Mongolian, like the tribes that came through the Alaska, and then the land bridge, and that whole story. But anyway, you can see the cultural thread is the same. All of the Tao, it's all shamanism, okay? So don't get weirded out that I'm bringing out a shamanic icon here for you to look at. But in relation to what we're doing, okay, I think this will be really, really helpful, because this is essentially what you see. If you recall from the first video, we brought the pearl, the sphere, same thing really, to each of the chakras to purify them. And as I mentioned in the context of that first video, we only do that practice once. Well, the reason, unless you need to heal from something, actually bringing the sphere to each chakra, the reason we do that is because now, basically the first thing you're going to see once you keep emptying yourself into this pearl and it expands, that's the first thing. You just keep emptying yourself, it expands, now you're inside the sphere. Well, now you bring all your attention once again, and always, to the center of the sphere. And out of that sphere, you see another sphere. There's infinite spheres that keep appearing, basically. And imagine inside of this sphere, you saw this, minus the feathers, of course, but it was horizontal. It was this way. So you're seeing this, but it's sideways. So basically what it is you've got to cross sideways. And what this is going to help you to do is connect all the energy in the front and the back of you to the left and to the right, and fuse it into the center. So this is real similar to the universal healing Tao practice that I learned and I'm certified through with Taoist Master Montauk Chia, fusion of the 5 elements, which is a practice that I studied for years before coming to this, which is why I was able to get this practice on a very high level of fusing pearls in your belly and all this stuff. Well, it's a very similar thing, which helps you dissolve your tension. Most of us, we go to a Chinese doctor, we take your pulse, which I'm in school for at the moment. Take your pulse, look at your tongue, face reading, and all this stuff. What's going on with your organs? Because we usually have more qi, hot types, you have more energy in the yang organs, cold types, more qi in the cold organs, so forth. But when you can bring them all into one center, that one balance, that gives you a lot more of a grounding in the center and homeostasis. And it's pretty much the goal of all medicine, right? So anyway, you're going to see this. I'm going to put it down with just one more visualization. You're going to see this cross, again, horizontally, in your belly. And what those are, it's essentially all of the chakras. It's kind of, I've also seen this in Tibetan Buddhism, where they talk about it, they call it a lotus appears with 4 petals, and there's one for each element, and thus each chakra. And what's going to happen is, and here's the actual method, we're going to spin it. Same as infusion. And what does that do? It creates, like all things in the known universe are spiraling, it creates a suction, like a vortex, where all of the energy from all of the elements gets fused into a single place. And that's powerful, because normally, again, our attention and thus our energy is scattered all over the place. Well, it's going to enable you to bring all of your elemental energy, all of your physical energy, all of your mental energy, all of the totality of yourself into one place. And it's going to turn on your, again, universal body, Dharmakaya, on a much bigger level. I mean, it's just like, it really, when you start spinning it now, you're really going to start harnessing chi. And I mean, you'll be sitting totally still, but you'll just feel like you know, again, this earth that we're on and every other star and moon in the known universe, they're all pearls and they're all spinning. So you're mirroring what's going on around us, and it's almost like the faster you spin this pearl, the more still and stable you become, if that makes sense. Kind of like the eye of the hurricane. You know, it's that intense vortexial energy, but then at the center it's perfectly still. That's the same thing. It's all spiraling around this neutral still point of the awareness, okay? So, one last time, we've got the pearl in our center, feeling, memory, thought of awareness. That pure awareness surrounds ourselves. We're sitting inside of the sphere. Then we bring our attention to the sphere again, and we're going to see essentially 5 smaller spheres. Once again, just to reference this, you see the elemental. It's like all the elements are a sphere. I'll turn to this side so you can see those feathers. So you've got the fire sphere here, the water sphere here, okay? The earth sphere, the wind sphere, and then the space sphere in the center. Of course, this is the Buddhist elemental system. But just by the way, real quick, if you are familiar with Taoist inner alchemy, which I practice every day, just as much as I do my Dharmakaya and the Taoist immortal cultivation, my 2 main practices, if you're familiar with those elemental system, instead of air and ether, they have wood and metal. It's the same 5 elements, because they all have the same pattern of phenomena. Do you know what I mean? So you can use either one. You can totally link it, okay? But I am going to use the one that's, you know, used in Buddhism in air and ether. Keep those just so we're all on the same page. But I'm just letting you know this practice works regardless, okay? So you see this sphere with this cross. You know, basically it's inside the sphere. You see 5 smaller spheres, okay? You're going to see the fire sphere in front of you, the water sphere, it's all inside of you, but inside of the pearl. So imagine inside of this pearl, you saw 5 smaller spheres, just like an X. And in the front of the pearl, pull this up for a second, okay, in the front of the pearl, you've got a fire sphere. In the back of the pearl, you've got a water sphere. On the right, you've got an earth sphere. And on the left, you've got a wind sphere. In the center, you've got a space sphere. So you're basically just seeing this 5 smaller spheres and kind of like this thin line of light connecting them, and then when you spin it, it takes a lot to like explain, but it's actually so simple. 5 smaller spheres inside this sphere. When you spin it, all of those energies get condensed and fused into a single point. And so much energy gets not only dissolved to the tension of our suffering, but released, and you can go and create the reality you want to live in with more authority. Now, one other thing I want to mention, if you're familiar with this method, you've probably already got a little red flag going up, just real quick, and then I'm going to go to the practice and not do any more commentary. The original way I learned this, the only difference from what I just told you is they put water in the front, fire in the back. Well, basically, because each of those represents a different direction, it basically depends on which direction you're facing. The reason that I do fire in the front, water in the back, and it's the same earth on the right, wind on the left, and same space in the center, is just because it's I don't even get too long-winded. Bottom line, when you're going to spin them, they're all going to come to the center anyway, but basically it just depends on which direction you're sitting. And in Taoist internal alchemy, for an alchemical reasons, we face the south, which is the fire. So that's a little bit of, you know, kind of bringing my other meditative internal alchemy awareness to it, but that's how I've just found to practice this ultimately most efficiently. But again, they're all going to spin and become one kind of solid pearl anyway. So, you know, do what you will with this practice, but that's how I'm going to present it. All right? Fire in the front, water in the back, earth on the right, wind on the left, space in the center. Now, what that's going to do once it starts spinning, here's where we get to the fusion level of it, is it's going to equalize those elements, as I said. So fire and water are polar opposites, right? Hot, fire's hot, water's cold, and so forth. Well, when you spin them, you're going to feel that hot and that cold. That's what all Chinese medicine is doing, by the way, balancing yin and yang. right? So it's going to help you. Does my body feel hot, cold? Equalize that. Same thing with the earth and the wind. Those are polar opposites. Earth is as stable as it gets. Wind is very subtle. And so it's going to help you balance that solidity of the body with the subtleness of the wind. And they all are spiraling around the space, which is going to help you feel more of a sense of, because space holds all elements, right? So it's that feeling of they're all spiraling around that neutral center of the space, all right? So we'll get to that in the practice. That's the first phase of this second sphere. Now, we haven't even talked about morality yet. And each of these videos, by the way, are going to get less and less verbose, but I'm just setting up the system. I mean, most of you probably haven't seen this, so I think it's really helpful. And I went to learn. It takes, months, years. I mean, I've been doing this like 12 years, so that's kind of my skill, is condensing. Coming up in LA as a yoga teacher, I would take these advanced things and condense them. So as long as this might sound if even the partially true, the promise of enlightenment and immortality, okay, it's probably worth the effort that we're taking, not only for me to speak, but for you to listen. So stay tuned. We're almost done with the context regarding morality, Sila, okay? At first, kind of like the 5 aggregates, the first one is the body, then the next 4 are the mind. At first, we use this method to balance our elements, right? The most dense expression of who we are. This body is just a culmination of elements. We know that. And you need 5 of them to hold your physical body. That's what you need. Then what happens is, though, once you do that on a physical level, you can work with a more subtle level of your mind. So that's when you really start to work with the Eightfold Noble Path, because it's all, about purifying your mind, basically. I mean, attachment to suffering, all this stuff. It's about where our focus is, where our mind is, the layers of our mind. So what happens is this visualization of having an X in the center of your body that is spinning to help you draw what that X represents. In the beginning, it's just the cross of, the 5 elements. So you could say 4 too, but it's really just 5 because you've always got the center. So it's the 5 elements. Into the center, well, then you're going to do it with the states of mind, with states of mind. So we do it in the same order that the Eightfold Noble Path is presented. Is Sila. You've got to work on morality before you get to the second one, which is samadhi, which is concentration. Because if you're out there killing people, and you're out there stealing, and you're out there lying, and sexual misconduct, and all that stuff, you're not going to be able to have any concentration at all. You're not. So you're going to have to work on that. That's why you work on the Sila first, right? So this visualization of this X in the center of the body, there's the 3, like of the Eightfold Noble Path, 3 of those 8 folds of the path deal with Sila, okay? 3 with samadhi, and then 2 with Pana, the third one, which is wisdom. Sila, okay? Right speech, right action, and right livelihood. Right speech, right action, right livelihood. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this spiraling pearl, okay? And we're going to visualize right speech, right action, right livelihood. Well, they each have 4 as well, except livelihood. So right speech, there's 4 kinds of things that we work on regarding right speech. We want to dissolve false speech, malicious speech, harsh speech, and useless speech. So once again, with this, first we're using this spinning, medicine wheel, if you will, or X, or half of a Dharma wheel, if you want to look at it, to purify our physical elements. Well, then once we do that, and you feel like you've got your physical body kind of relaxed enough to focus on your, mental cultivation, then you're going to see Sila, right speech. Well, there's 4 kinds of right speech. So instead of, fire, water, air, and earth, and space at the center, well, now you've got false speech, malicious speech, harsh speech, and useless speech. Those are all 4 kinds of speech that I want to dissolve. So I'm going to, out of my willingness, because chi flows when the mind goes, and law is governed by intent, out of that intention, I'm going to use this to dissolve that. And so I'm going to see this cross as one pillar. Instead of being fire, once we get past the physical, that's going to be false speech, malicious speech, harsh speech, useless speech. Once this thing spins, they're all going to come and dissolve on my center. So that's the first one, right speech. Speech action, right action. 4 types of right action, okay? And that's just the Silas, basically. And then the third one, which is livelihood, you basically just have the 5 Silas now. So you've got kill, I'm not going to kill, steal, sexual misconduct, and intoxication. Those 4, same thing. I'm going to draw into my center all the, tension that might cause somebody to do those things. Kill, steal, wrongful sex, or, wrong partner, the things we talked about, sexual misconduct, and then the impetus to go get intoxicated or whatever. And then livelihood. So basically it's just the 5 Silas, which is, I'm just letting you know, we're setting it up as a mandala, basically. That's all it is. So I hope that's not coming across as complicated or whatever. Last of the last, I'm just going to tell you one more time what we're doing, and then we're going to do it. We begin the practice, we bring the sphere to our center, feeling, memory, thought, awareness. Feeling, memory, thought, awareness, feeling, memory, thought, awareness, so that pure awareness surrounds ourselves. And we're sitting inside the sphere. Then we empty ourselves perpetually, feeling, memory, thought, awareness, to that radiant nucleus, and we see inside of that nucleus another pearl. And within that pearl, there's 5 smaller pearls, and they're the elemental, the essences of the elements. Fire in front, water in back, earth on the right, wind on the left, space in the center. We're going to continue to empty ourselves into the center, and that pearl is going to start spinning to the right. Spin right and spin right. And it's going to attract all those elements and help us, harness their power and equalize them. Because again, normally we're predominant fire types like me, or water type, whatever. We want to be balanced, all right? So we're going to do that. And then out of that, the sphere is going to expand again. It basically keeps doing it. The more you empty yourself, the more it expands. The more you relax and let go, the more energy you can be filled up. Then you're going to see the sphere of Sila, the sphere of morality, will appear. Okay? Which has 3 layers. Speech, action, livelihood. And we're going to use this visualization of the spinning cross to dissolve wrong speech, wrong action, and the impetus or whatever, to have wrong livelihood. You'll see as we practice. And that is the essence of this second sphere of the 6 of the universal body. The sphere of Dharma, which we'll focus on to open things up, and now the sphere of Sila, morality. One other thing I do want to mention is what I'm going to present to you in just a moment with the guided meditation is kind of like the full meditation that you can do with this. First, starting with seeing the 5 smaller spheres, using that visualization of the cross to purify your 5 elements, and then each level of the Eightfold Noble Path, starting with morality and samadhi, concentration, pamana, wisdom, and so forth. Now, I'm not going to do this, like I said, I'm going to do the full practice, but I just want to tell you there's kind of an abbreviated version that if I'm in a rush or whatever, I don't use the visualization of the cross in the belly. That's more like detailed, as I said. So the way the practice is going to go is basic Dharma sphere awareness. You bring a crystal sphere to your center of gravity, feeling, memory, thought, awareness, feeling, memory, thought, awareness. All your feelings, memory, thought, awareness drop to the radiant center of that sphere. The sphere expands to surround your body. And now you're sitting inside of that sphere. You just keep emptying. The more you empty yourself, your feelings, memory, thought, and awareness, the essence of this practice, the Dharma sphere, the more pure that aura and everything inside of it, your body, energy, mind, and everything else, will become purer and purer and purer. Okay, it's kind of like this is your center of digestion. Well, you're going to digest all of that, like alchemy. A good analogy of alchemy is digestion. You dissolve, break down whatever you're eating, physically or subtly with energy and thoughts, and all of it is food, and you break down and you absorb the nutrients, and then you discard the impurities that you don't need. Well, it's the same way on a subtle level. So this is going to really help you with a lot of levels, of digestion, physically, and beyond. But the abbreviated version of this, like once we get to that point, feeling, memory, thought, awareness, we're now sitting inside the sphere, you can just go through kind of rapid fire, and I'll do it on the very last video of the series so you can just see how quick and abbreviated it can be. Rather than set up the 5 smaller spheres, you can just say, okay, I just want all of the Eightfold Noble Path to concentrate into the sphere. So feeling, memory, thought, awareness, that pure awareness surrounds your body. Then you simply visualize the sphere of Sila with its 3 layers. I wish to embody right speech, right action, right livelihood. The sphere of Samadhi would be next. Right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. The sphere of Pana comes next. Wisdom, right understanding, right intent, and so forth. You go in this way. We just click, 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 click versus, the cross of using it to spiral. It's just a little bit more of an abbreviated method. But I invite you in this series to just go through the whole method, and then in the end, I'll give you the kind of quick Cliff Note version to where you can do it often. And even this with the full-on verbose method that I'm sharing with you now is still very quick compared to the months-long retreats and stuff you gotta go take to even get this transmission, okay? So I say that all to you with humility and see how you feel. So without further ado, that is all the context that I think either of us have room for. Let's dive right in and see how we feel. Get into a nice, comfortable seated position. Ideally, you want to even do a little yoga before you do your meditation, but I'll assume you've already done that, and here we go. Come to meditation, ideally after pranayama and yoga, and sit in any comfortable position with an open circuit mudra, the palms facing up, thumbs interlaced, tongue gently pressed and held to the roof of your mouth. And establish a long, effortless belly breath so that your belly expands like a balloon, expanding in all directions as you inhale. And it flattens as you exhale. And behind your navel, in the center of the body, midway between the navel and the spine, where you feel the energy the strongest behind your navel, see and feel a crystal sphere of light. And breathe into the radiant nucleus of the sphere. Connect your eyes, your mind, and your awareness to that radiant nucleus. And mentally recite the words Samma Arahang, Samma Arahang, Samma Arahang, continuously to purify the sphere and your 5 aggregates. The aggregative body, which we are at the center of, and your feeling, memory, thought, and awareness, with the inner mantra Samma Arahang. If you prefer, you can also use the inner spoken word of stop in stop, still in still, clear in clear, so that the mind becomes stopped, still, and clear in the center of the sphere. And simply connect your eyes and your mind to the radiant nucleus of the sphere, and let each feeling that you're experiencing right now, each memory, each thought drop into that radiant nucleus. Feeling, memory, thought, awareness. Feeling, memory, thought, awareness. Feeling, memory, thought, awareness. Empty to the radiant nucleus of the sphere until the sphere expands by itself such that you are now sitting inside of the sphere. And all of the spheres are concentric. So the new center of the center is still the region behind your navel where you feel the energy the strongest. And bring your attention to that radiant center. Feeling, memory, thought, awareness in the nucleus of the pearl, in the center of your effortlessly breathing belly. And through time, as you practice this, emptying yourself perpetually till the nucleus of the pearl, till it expands by itself to surround your body. Continue to return your attention to the radiant nucleus of the pearl that you're now sitting inside of. And you will see another sphere, this one with 5 smaller spheres connected by thin lines of light, just like an X. You will see these 5 smaller spheres inside of the sphere in your center of gravity. A red sphere in front, a blue sphere in back, a yellow earth sphere on the right, a green wind sphere on the left, and a crystal clear, like clear white space sphere in the center. The 5 dense elements. And then the nucleus of the sphere is the cognitive element. Well, I should say, the nucleus of the sphere is the cognitive element. The nucleus of the nucleus is Dharma itself, which we're trying to merge each element in our cognition with. So simply see in your center of gravity the 5 small elemental spheres: fire sphere in front, water sphere in back, earth sphere on the right, wind sphere on the left, with the central space sphere that all the other spheres connect to via the thin white lines. And just drop your eyes and your mind to the radiant nucleus of the central sphere. And see that these 5 smaller spheres begin to spiral clockwise. The more you empty yourself to the center, and the more of that center you can hold, like the eye of a hurricane, the faster that hurricane can spin. All your elemental spheres: fire in front, water in back, earth on the right, wind on the left, space in the center. Just simply feel that. A clockwise to the right spiraling. And feel how it draws in all the energy from the front and the back of you. Feel it equal and balanced in the center. All the energy on the left and the right of you, equal and balanced in the center. Feel the hot, explosive quality of fire in the front, and the cold, contractive quality of water in the back, equal and balanced, hot and cold, front and back, equal and balanced in the center. The dense, stable quality of earth on the right, and the expanded, subtle quality of wind on the left, equal and balanced in the center. And let it spin, so that all of the elements, hot and cold, stable and subtle, front, back, left and right, feel equal and balanced in the center of the crystal sphere. And I invite you to practice just this part of the meditation on your own until you can really distinguish each element and feel the balancing, hot and cold, front and back, earth and wind, left and right, equal and balanced. And out of that spiral around the center, they will keep emptying their energy and their intelligence into the center and keep expanding out new, more and more radiant and refined spheres, and helping you achieve optimal health and vitality as a result, because our body is made out of these 5 elements. But for now, we're going to shift to cultivating our Sila, our morality. So see these 5 spheres in our original sphere: front, back, left, right, and center. See this as the sphere of morality, which, as I said, is 3 parts of the Eightfold Noble Path. So stage 1, right speech. We're going to use the spiral in our center to dissolve the 4 types of wrong speech, thereby leading to right speech. False speech, malicious speech, harsh speech, and useless speech. Just see and feel the pearl spiraling in your center, and feel that it is drawing in and dissolving in the clear light of pure awareness. False speech, malicious speech, harsh speech, and useless speech. And let it keep spinning. You're just setting up a process and letting it do its magic. Letting the Dharma sphere do its magic. It's out of a willingness to relax and let go of the tendency to have false speech, malicious speech, harsh speech, useless speech. We're allowing it to dissolve in the radiant nucleus of pure awareness itself, around which the pearl is spiraling clockwise to the right. Just feel it on any level that you can. And this leads to the second phase of morality cultivation. The second sphere after right speech is right action. So it's as if, and quite literally in this practice, a new sphere perpetually expands from the original center that we're working with. So first, the sphere of the elements appeared, and that's continuing to happen. And then the first layer of Sila, sphere of speech, right speech, that appeared. And now out of the radiant nucleus of that center, a new sphere appears. And that is the sphere of right action. And we're going to use this spiral, this visualization of the 4 corners of the sphere, the 4 layers of the impetus to kill, steal, perform sexual misconduct, and to become intoxicated. We're going to allow all of those inclinations to dissolve in the radiant nucleus of the pearl. Relax and let go of the impetus to kill, steal, perform sexual misconduct, and become intoxicated. Just let it all melt. Relax and let it go. Make room for fresh energy. And out of that radiant nucleus around which the pearl is spiraling, and around which we are perpetually emptying the totality of our awareness, moment to moment, one last sphere, the 3rd sphere, in the sphere of Sila, lots of spheres, is the sphere of livelihood, right livelihood. And just simply hold the intention to be aligned with right livelihood, a livelihood that is good for you and good for others. Simple awareness of the Dharma sphere in the center of your body. Empty your feelings, memory, thought, and awareness until that radiant nucleus of pure awareness itself expands from the center to surround your body. And return awareness to the center of the center once again. And within that center, you see 5 smaller spheres. Utilize that awareness to balance your elements. Fire in front, water in back, earth on the right, wind on the left, space in the center. And once you feel like you've done that physically, then we move to the more subtle space of the mind and embodying the 3 levels, 3 of the Eightfold Noble Path that deal with the Sila, morality. Right speech, right action, and right livelihood. Sometimes in this practice, I'll even just bring my attention to the center, feeling, memory, thought, awareness. Feel that awareness surround my body, a crystalline aura. And then I'll return my awareness once again to the center of the center and simply ask myself the question, what is right speech? What is right action? What is right livelihood? Because if this is the true center, myself, connected to the center of the universe, this is an antenna to the all, and therefore can be asked any question, such as, what is right speech? What is right action? What is right livelihood? And just for a brief moment, yin stage, receptive stage meditation, let us just sit with that and open ourselves up to the response from the universe. And feel free to bask and marinate in this field of all possibilities we've opened ourselves up to, and this yin stage portion of our meditation. But when you are ready to conclude your practice, you always want to concentrate awareness once again in your center. So whatever you feel on any level from this practice, drop that feeling, your memory, your thought, your awareness into the nucleus of the pearl, the radiant nucleus in the center of your effortlessly breathing belly. Collect your energy and press save. And rub your hands together, because it's the most auspicious time to wish when your energy is concentrated in one place. So return your awareness once again to your personal center behind the navel, where you feel the energy the strongest. And by the power of our personal center and the universal center to which it connects, the highest embodiment of wellness and good fortune, and the ability to dissolve suffering and make way for non-suffering, which is also called joy. The highest embodiment of wellness and good fortune for myself, all those affected by my actions, and ultimately all sentient beings. I think, I feel, I am.